Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are continuing our weekly series of shirim on the Zohar HaKadosh, illuminating the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu with the Torah of Rashbi, and the Torah of Rashbi with the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu, as we discussed in the Ramchal shir yesterday. And in Parshas Balak, we encountered just an immense amount of material in the Zohar HaKadosh, an immense amount of beauty, the powerful story of the Yanuka, of the wonder child who was able to discern the status of the Tanaim and to uncover the depths of the secrets as a result of him being rooted in the secret of his father, of Himnuna Saba, which is the Gilui of the Sodos of Lav Yasan and the secret integration between that which is revealed and that which is concealed. On dry land, the person appears to be functioning on the model of the Shor Habar, something that is revealed, something that is clear and identifiable, while the opposite is the depths of the sea, which is the secret of the Leviathan. So there's a paradoxical relationship between that which is revealed on land and that which was concealed on the sea. And as the Balatanya Skusia Ganalenu describes in Parsha Shmini, the entire battle between the Shor Habar and the Leviathan, which are a necessary stage to the emergence of Mashiach Tzidkenu, which is ultimately the Shor Habar is Chachma, that which is revealed, and the Leviathan is Bina, that which is concealed. That battle is in truth a unification that takes place by way of conflict to bring about a new joy, a new light, a new illumination that could not have been revealed if it were not for that encounter by way of Batisha, by way of conflict, by way of encountering two sides of something, and in the tension that is born out of the oppositional force, that is going to be the place, the incubator that allows the new third koach to be revealed, which is higher than both, and the secret of Sha'ashum, as we're going to see. Generally speaking, the dry land, the Shor Habar, and the sea, the Leviathan, Chachma and Bina, are two separate elements. But whenever Ram Hevnuna Saba comes out in the Zohar HaKadosh, whenever the light of Rav Himnuna Saba, which is really another element of Moshe Rabbeinu was min hamayim mishisuhu. Moshe Rabbeinu is drawn out of the water, which is the waters of Chachma. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu is much more oriented towards Chachma in the secret of Yesod Da'aba, in the expression of Chachma, in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. But on the other hand, we have Yehoshua ben Nun. We have Yehoshua, the Talmud Muvhak of Moshe Rabbeinu, is the emergence of the fish from within the water. The water, which starts with a mem, represents the totality and the wholeness of Chachma, where things are functioning well. The nun, the fish, the Aramaic translation of fish, is the representation of particularity and bina within the wholeness of Chachma. That's the secret of a yam. A yam is, on the one hand, the gematria of 50, which represents bina. On the other hand, it represents the sea, which is Chachma, which is going to be the wholeness that gives shape to all of that particularization. And even though we just described a moment before that the dry land and the Shor Habar is Chachma in relationship to the Leviathan and the sea, which is Bina, nevertheless, in secrets of unity, everything is contained of everything. And in Chachma there's Bina, and in Bina there's Chachma, in the secret of Chacham bebina and Havein b'Chachma. So now we're talking about the sea, which is an element of Bina, but within that there's going to be a Chachma and a Bina of Bina. The Chachma of Bina is going to be the sea, and the emergence of the particular fish from within the sea is going to be the Bina of Bina. So we see a unification with Moshe Rabbeinu on the one hand, who is the sea, is the Chachma, and Yehoshua ben Nun, which is the emergence of fish and particularization, which is the process of Chachma into Bina in order to come into Eretz Yisrael. We also see, forgetting about Yoshua ben Nun for a second, in the Zohar HaKadosh, there is a secret of Rav Himnuna Saba, which is the innermost point of Moshe Rabbeinu and the innermost point of Das of Moshe that rests hidden within the sea. Moshe Rabbeinu in the Tikkun Zohar is referred to as the creature of the sea, the big fish of the sea that has the capacity to face down the Tanin Hagadol, that great serpent of the sea, which is Paro, because Moshe Rabbeinu has the secret of descending down from Chachma into Bina, from the Klal into the Prat, without losing sight of the Klal, nor denying the value of the Prat. And so anytime there's a Hisairus of this Yichud between Chachma and Bina, between the sea in its wholeness and the particularization of the fish that continue to exist within the sea, especially in this week's Parsha, which is the secret of V'yigdu Larov B'Kerev Haaretz, that there can be a proliferation of fish, but nevertheless it can be as if they're on dry land, in the secret, in the depths of dry land, which is the secret of unity. which is what happens by Simchas Beis HaShoeva, where we draw the depths of water onto dry land, which is the unity of Chachma and Bina. In this week's Parsha, we're going to encounter a great light of Rav Hamnuna Saba and a great light of the unity between above and below, between that which is revealed and that which is concealed. For that reason, the secret of the Yanuka is a secret of the impossibility of a young child revealing the depths of secrets that belong to the secrets of old age and ancientness. How could you have something ancient being revealed from something fundamentally new? Well, that in and of itself is the same unity of the sea and the fish, or the dry land and the sea, which is Chachma and Bina, because Chachma is Zesha Kana Chachma, Chachma is Ziknus, Chachma is old age, Chachma is something that points towards that which is ancient, and Bina represents his chadshus. It represents Hamevin Davar Mitoich Davar, something that is perpetually emerging into a state of newness. So how could you have a unity between these two things? Nevertheless, the unity comes about in the secret of Chachma and Bina and the secret of Nar Hayisi Gam Zakanti, that I am very old, but I'm still very young, which is the secret of the unity of the sea and the fish, which is the secret of the Yanuka, who's the child of Rav Hamnuna Saba, that youthfulness of the Torah and the perpetual flow of Chidushim that is emergent specifically from within the Yud Chachma Keduma and the Zesha Kana Chachma and the depths of the sea of the Zohar Kadosh. Now, one of the reasons that there has to be so much in the Zohar Kadosh is because whenever we come onto Parshas Balak, we're encountering a real koach. We're encountering the real koach of Bilam and Balak, who had the ability, in whatever way, to utilize the Yud Kisrin de Misabusa, to utilize the Yud Kisrin Tata'in. They knew how to utilize spirituality. They knew how to utilize the states of consciousness. They knew how to utilize grasp. They knew how to utilize things that appeared to be magical. They knew how to utilize the idealization of reaching a place of Gan Eden, but it was all without bittul. It was all without bittul, which is what makes it so dangerous. The nature of Bilam and Balak is the state of attempting spiritual ascension without the secret of bittul, which is the secret of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is the secret of the Anava of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is the secret of Va'anachnu Ma, and that we are absolutely nothing. That's the secret of the bittul of Chachma, that Moshe Rabbeinu, nobody was like Moshe Rabbeinu, but that's only in Klal Yisrael, because outside of Klal Yisrael there was Bilam. Bilam can't be Moshe Rabbeinu, Avad not. Why? It's simply externally that they appear to be similar, because they're both utilizing experiences of ascension upwards. The only difference is that one is with full and ultimate bittul, and the other one is with complete and fundamental self-interest and egoisms, which is the midah of Bilam. And so because there's such a hisayrus of these kochos of Bilam and Balak, and it's beginning of that time of the Bein HaMitzarim and Klal Yisrael find themselves between the narrow straits already hinted to, with that koyach of the peh, of the ason. So in this concealing time, we need to utilize and double down on the medicine of the Zohar HaKadosh, which is really the secret of Mi Bein HaMitzarim, Kol Rodfeh Hisigu, Bein HaMitzarim. All those who seek her out will find her, specifically in times of constriction, that when there's a hisayrus of Balak, when there's a hisayrus of so much of this negative light of Balak and Bilam that wanted so desperately to destroy the spiritual root source of Klal Yisrael, so too we have to double down with the illumination of the Zohar HaKadosh and the secret of the Yanuka, who's the son of Rav Hamnuna Saba, with the Ribui Or of Parshas Balak. The Zohar HaKadosh and Parshas Balak is immense, and it brings a person through so many sugyos and so many sipurim of the Zohar, the sipurim and the narrative and the chavraya kadisha that are wandering around, and the sense of crying and laughing and joy and the relationship between one another, that becomes most present in the secret of Balak, because we have to utilize that power to fight against the klipa of Balak and Bilam. That being said, we're going to be on Daf Kuf Tzadi Gimel in Parshas Balak. Kuf Tzadi Gimel Amud Aleph. And all of this is obviously B'derech Efshar, but primarily based on the Ateres Tzvi of Zidtov, and according to my humble understanding. Rabbi Eliezer v'Rabbi Abba have azlei lemachmei Rabbi Yosi ben Reb Shimon ben Loikina chamoid Rabbi Eliezer. So Rabbi Eliezer and Rav Abba were going along the path to go and visit Rabbi Yosi, the son of Reb Shimon, the son of Lukana, who was the father-in-law of Rabbi Eliezer. So Rabbi Eliezer was going to travel to his father-in-law, and he brought a Rabbi Abba along with him. Now, what's interesting about Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Abba together is that Rabbi Eliezer is the son of Rabbi Shimon. He's the ben of Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Abba is the scribe of Rabbi Shimon, who's the Talmud of Rabbi Shimon. So here we have a clear relationship between the ben and the Talmud. The light of the tzaddik, the light of Rabbi Shimon, can express itself in one of two ways. It expresses itself by way of father to son, and it expresses itself by way of teacher to student. Each one of those pathways has a particular strength and a particular weakness. The particular strength of the ben is that the ben has the ability to receive the hiddenmost treasure houses of the father, unlike the student who might not be capable of receiving all of that hidden nature of what goes on behind the scenes of the teaching. And that's the benefit of the son. The benefit of the son is that it gets the inner chambers of the father, and the negative element of the student is that it doesn't receive those inner chambers. But the negative aspect of the son is the fact that because he's a son, he can't be fully treated as a Talmud, and therefore he's going to lack in some of the chitzonius of the Chachma, that only the student has the possibility of understanding by way of the distance. And the Maila of the Talmud is the Hamshacha into the Kalim. But there is a secret of a Ben and a Talmud together in the secret of what Rabbi Nachman describes, that a person has to always make sure that they're leaving a residual presence of themselves down below in this world, which is the secret of making a child or making yourself a student. Because ultimately, one can have expression in one of two ways. I can express the innermost part of myself, which might not find full reception, or I can express the externalized parts of myself, which will receive more reception, but nevertheless it will be lacking in the innermost light. Over here in this story of the Zohar Kadosh, B'derech Efshar, we can say it's Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Abba, because this light of the Zohar Kadosh that we're going to see right now is a light that expresses itself by way of the Ben and the Talmud, the secret of the Ben that acts like a Talmud, which was really the darga of the Baal HaTanya, because what the Baal HaTanya was a chavrusa of Rav Avram Hamalach, who was the son of the Magid HaKadosh. And therefore, not only was the Baal HaTanya a student of the Magid, the youngest student, but he was also receiving a certain element from the Magid that was reserved only for the son of the Magid, who was his chavrusa. So the Baal HaTanya received the inner and the outer as well. And Rabbi Nachman also, obviously in the sense that he was a student of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, but he was also a blood relative and a great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. So it's over here that Rabbi Eliezer Virababa, the secret of a son, which is Chachman, the secret of a student, which is Bina, both of those are going to be operating here. And they were going to meet the father-in-law of Rabbi Eliezer. Why the father-in-law? A father-in-law is the father of the wife rather than the father of the individual themselves in this context. Over here, what we're going to be talking about is the ability for Chachma, of the highest source, to express itself down to the lowest place. A father and a son is Chachma going down to Zer Anpin. But a son and a father-in-law is the secret of Chachma coming all the way down to Malchus, where it's being revealed from within the Nekeva itself. And we're going to see in this Zohar Kadosh that the light that is being brought out in this Nakuda is really the secret of how it is that the infinite light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's shaykh to Keser, that's shaykh to Arich Anpin, that's shaykh to those places that are beyond us, how it can transition down into our own graspability, and it's specifically going to be through the secret of the Bittul of Chachma. So when do they go on this mission? Kamu beplugsa laila l'meil ba'araisa yasmu. They awoke in the midpoint of night at Nekudas HaChatzos in order to sit and learn Torah. So over here we encounter the son and the Talmud, Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Eliezer, waking up at that secret point of midnight, which is the point where the night breaks into the day prior to the emergence of day itself, the secret of the Hitznoitzitz of Geula within Galus itself. And it's at that place where it's most difficult to awaken oneself. It's at that place where a person is most encumbered by the pain of the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, which is why it's such a potent point of Tikkun Chatzos, the Tikkun of the Chatzi, the rectification of what it means to be aware of being a Chatzi Davar, and to grow from there into learning how to find Shlemus within being a Chatzi Davar, which is the secret of Rav Avram Abulafia Schusi Agelenu writes that we need to do is we need to be miyached at the Shalim and the Chatzi. We need to recognize the wholeness and the halfness of ourselves at each and every moment. That's the secret of awakening at night. At that point, to be mishta'asheya in the Torah, to be mishta'asheya in the Torah, to learn Torah. So it's this awakening of at that depth point of nighttime, where the learning of Torah, where the tikkun of being mahapich the laila into the light of day is taking place. So it's a precise point that this mission is taking place. Rabbi Eliezer says, Hashtahu idna de kudshabrichu ayil beginsa de eden leishta'asheya betzadikaya de teman. This is something that's repeated throughout the Zohar Kadosh, that in the time of Chatzos, when the tzaddikim awake after Tikkun Chatzos to learn and to be mishta'asheya in the Torah, in truth, the reason that they're doing that, or perhaps the reason that it's taking place above and vice versa, is because it's at that time, at that idna, which is a time orientation that brings to mind the language of Eden, where the continued existence of time in Eden, which is the Idna, which is that specific time point of midnight, the Kutchabrichu Ayl begins in the Eden. HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes into Gan Eden, into the Malchus of that world, and to find joy, to find the Ratzon, to be Mamshich the Bria. The Sha'ashuim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know, come about by dint of the fact that he can look into the future, so to speak, and see the Maisin Tovim of the Tzadikim and the Nachas Ruach that's going to be Oilam Milamata Lamala to bring about the joy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Yismach Hashem b'ma'asav, and it's the secret of drawing down more and more of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light into Metzias. The Sha'ashua was the original awakening towards a desire for creation, and therefore when HaKadosh Baruch Hu descends down to gaze at what's taking place in Chatzois Laila, what's taking place in the depths of darkness, when those tzaddikim are awakening themselves from night, in the secret of Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Abba, so at that point, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is coming to renew the desire for the continuation and the desire for the recreation of the world at every moment. The Sha'ashuim are the goodness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees and the affirmation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu uncovers at the heart of all of existence, even though it's not yet present yet. And that's the secret of the Sha'ashuim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes down to perceive at the moment of Chatzos Laila. Amar Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba asks Rabbi Eliezer a question. Again, Rabbi Abba is hearing something from the sun. He's hearing something from the Darga of Chachma, and he's asking from the Darga of the Talmud, which is the Darga of Bina. And he says, Rabbi Abba says, Sha'ashuasa da maihu. What is it? You're talking to me about the Sha'ashua that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is engaged in. You're talking to me about this untranslatable word of a joy that comes out of a distance, of an anticipation towards a future, of something that is not yet present, the capacity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol to see the future expression of the Nachas Ruach Milamata Lamala as if it's taking place in front of him right now, that inner joy that emerges from the depth of self by the transition of self and the rapid movement of self to perpetually become more and more of itself, which comes about by the movement inspired by Gevura, as the Leshem explains, and as all of the tzaddikim explain in the beginning of the Olam of the Sha'ashuim, how it comes about by way of din, how it comes about by way of being mamtik the Gevuros, because without the Gevura, without the nighttime, you don't have the secret of the Sha'ashua, which is the overcoming of the prevention and the continuity towards the path, which is to find joy, and the joy that comes about in spite of the difficulty. That's the secret of the Sha'ashua. So Rabbi Abba is asking, Sha'ashua da maihu, what is it? Where does it come from? How do you know about it? And how is HaKadosh Baruch Hu taking pleasure in it? What is it? How do we understand this? And this is what the Zohar Kadosh is going to bring us into. Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar answers to him, and he speaks from the experience of being a ben. Mila da, this secret that you're asking me about, the how and the why of the Sha'ashuim, and why it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants this type of avodah from us at this moment in reality, da raza stima. This is a hidden secret. Tamira lagabe de lo yada. It's a secret that is hidden and contained over there by that which can't be known. Meaning, this comes from the Orient Sof Kaviyachol. This comes from the highest place of Reshad Loas Yada, which is the ayin that the Ani Hashem Elokechem is mislabish in, and then that essential Ani Hashem Elokechem that's mislabish in the Reshad Loas Yada, in truth, gives us more of a koach to come back to the Luyada, which is the higher level of ayin. So in that place, it's completely rooted in ayin. Even if we have some hasaga of knowing, ultimately that knowledge is always just to know that we can't fully know, in the secret of the ani of Hashem Elokechem that's mislabish within the ayin of Reshad Lois Yada, as the Rebbe has been discussing, and this is just one of the erchim of what the Rebbe has been discussing. In that place, ultimately, it's rooted in ayin. A person can't grasp anything there. A person comes to a place of not knowing anything whatsoever. You're going to ask about the Sha'ashua, Rav Abba? How can you ask about the Sha'ashua? And Dafka Rabbi Elazar is able to ask this question because he's the son who understands the silence of the father, which is the secret of the inability to express itself. But a student has to orient themselves towards hearing the words of the teacher. And yes, there's a vada, a way of learning the silence of the teacher, which is the secret of Shatik Rav, as the Mittler Rebbe explains in the beginning of Shar Yichud. But nevertheless, it's the silence that the Ben is capable of intuiting, as Rabbi Nachman describes in Torah Samach Dalet, how it's specifically Moshe Rabbeinu, who's the tzaddik on the darga of a Ben, who has the ability of going down into the Chalal HaPanui with that shtika. And so how could you ask me? How could you ask me about the Sha'ashua? It comes from that place of ayin. It comes from that place of Reshad Loas Yada. So Amar Lei, but Rabbi Abba, who's speaking as a student, and the job of a student is to speak, the Chiberei Kanei Have Samchin, Rav Revin de Mekadmatana Kahe Alma de Lo Yadu. V'lei Radfu Abasari Leminda Alma Kaima, Bezois Alma, Uma Have Machakin Bahahu Alma. So says Rabbi Abba back, We're not dealing with a foolish person over here. We're not dealing with an empty mind that thinks that it could potentially come to grasp the source of the Sha'ashuim. Obviously, I know, says Rabbi Abba, I'm a Talmud. I understand the secret that there's no ability to grasp anything whatsoever. The Chiberekane Have Samchen, are you dealing with an empty person over here? The Rav Rivin Mekad Madana Bahe Alma de Lo Yadu. We understand already in this world that it's impossible to know, and everyone knows that. But nevertheless, did it prevent them from chasing after that which is not known to try and have a graspability of it, to understand what it's situated upon? And what's waiting for us to be revealed in that world of Adar, Baba says, the Talmidim also know the impossibility of grasping anything. They know the Shorish of Ayin, they know the Shorish of the Reish Lo that gives birth to the Sha'ashuim, and that anytime you want to come to understand the Sha'ashuim, you come into the place of the Ayin Ha'amiti, which is the recognition of Kedushasi L'Mala Mikdashechem, and then I don't know anything. But Rabbi Abba says we know that already, but nevertheless, that shouldn't prevent us from chasing after the idea. As Rabbi Nachman describes in Torah Chaf Daled, that there's a light that exists above the capacity of the soul to grasp it, yet nevertheless, in the attempt to grasp the ungraspability of that place, we're zoicha to it in the derech of Mati V'Leimati, which is the secret of the Sha'ashuim itself. So Rabbi Abba is saying, I understand that it's unlimited. I understand I can't grasp it. And I understand that you're saying this as a child, but I'm saying that as the Talmidim, we have a different koyach, that we also know we can't grasp it, but we still want to try and understand it. Pasach Rabbi Eliezer, and Rabbi Eliezer, as a result of hearing all of this, Pasach Rabbi Eliezer, he opens up his mouth, he enters into his position in the light of Chachma, in the light of the sun, who now is going to reveal the source of the Sha'ashuim, the place that these Sha'ashuim come to, the secret of that innermost point of connection between above and below. And we're going to see in the Raza de Mehem Nusa how, hinted to in a singular pasuk, we're going to see this radical transformation of above to below, and all of the various stations that seem to be separating above to below, that serve as points of continuation and nodal points along the map of Seder Ashtalshalis. But nevertheless, the secret of the Raza de Mehem Nusa is that now, once we've explained to you all of these levels and all of the floors in which the above is transitioning down below, and how infinite is merging into finite, nevertheless, all of those levels have to be seen as translucent, in the sense that they function because there can be no unity between above and below without their functioning, but nevertheless, they are not separating between above and below. It's the secret of a love b'derech midosav. I can't go from below to above. I can't go to the source of the Sha'ashuim, to that place of Ayin, without understanding the Raza D'Yam Nusa of the process from Ayin into Keser, and from Keser into Chachma, and Chachma into Bina, and Bina into Zah, and Zah into Malchus. But then at that point in Malchus, what's revealed is a sudden relationship between the Ayin of all the way above, of Reish Lo Asiyada, and Malchus. Even though we had all of these stages in between, those stages are shown to all be part and parcel of a singular flow. And that's going to be the answer that comes out over here. That yes, I'm going to show you the source of Malchus HaGenuza Beradla, the shirish of the Sha'ashuim, but nevertheless, it's going to be by way of the Seder Ashtalshalos. Pasach Rabbi Eliezer v'Amar, Rabbi Eliezer opens up his mouth and says, Hashem Eloikai ata arumincha oidcha shimcha ki asita v'goimer. Pasuk in Yeshaya says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you I am going to praise through elevation, and I'm going to elevate you through praise, and I'm going to elevate your name for all of the goodness that you have performed for me, for all of the goodness, for all of the eitzos, for all of the Pella that you have done for me, Asita Pella Imadi, that you have done a wondrous thing for me, that you have provided me with eitzos merachok. So this pasuk is going to become the source text that Rabbi Elazar is going to reveal this profound mystery of the source of the Sha'ashuim and how they apply to us down here, even though all of the levels of connectivity just really represent the impossible connectivity between above and below. Zak the Saira Kadosh. Haikra Raza D'Mehem Nusa Ihu. This pasuk contains the secret of faith, and the secret of faith is, again, the upholding of the paradox between the fact that what we're trying to describe here is something impossible, yet nevertheless we're going to tell you how the impossible takes place. Even after it's described, it remains impossible. Okay, that's the Raz Nusa. That's the secret of faith and the irreducible nature of faith that exists at the core of any wisdom. All wisdom leads finally to that place of surrender and the acceptance of faith, because even when it makes sense, it makes no sense. Dezeh ilo sherusa. So Hashem. Pasuk starts Hashem. What does it mean, Hashem? Dezeh ilo sherusa denekuda ilo stima delo yada. Hashem in this pasuk of Hashem Elokai Atar Amimcha Oid Chashimcha Ki Asisa Peli Madi, that the Hashem over here represents the hidden ascendant secret of the singular point that is concealed above that cannot be grasped, the secret of Keser, the secret of Arach Anpin, the secret of complete nothingness that we have no grasp of, at least in accordance with where we are at right now. We don't have the ability to draw down that light, that Nukuda Ilah Stima de lo Yada. That is what the word Hashem represents. So we start with Keser. Again, we're describing how we get from Malchus to the Shorish of the Sha'ashuim. Rabbi Elazar is answering Rav Abba's question because Rav Abba has shown him that obviously we know that we don't know, but even though we know that we don't know, we still want to try and know how and why we don't know. And therefore, Rabbi Abba, the son, is answering the Talmud. And so he's saying the process is going to be as follows, that there's going to be the upper Nakuda Ilah Stima de lo Yada, the light of Keser. Then the word Eloikai, Hashem Elokai, Eloikai is the secret of Raza, the Kol, the Mam Madaka, the Ihu Shirusa, the Kaima, L'Sha'ela. So what is Elokai? What is Elokai coming to do? It is the levush of that place of Arich Anpin, the Chochma Stima of Arich Anpin, the Chochma of Keser. It now gets expressed through a levush of the bina of Keser, which is the garon of Arich Anpin, as the Arizal describes and as the Atar Svi points out. And it's that halbasha of the chokhmah stima'a of Arich Anpin, the chokhmah of Keser, within the bina of Keser, which is the secret of the kol dama madaka, the unspeakability of the nature of this connection, is where it's going to come down from. So even though that original Nakuda Ilah Stima de lo Yada, which is the Chachma of Keser, the Chachma Stima of Keser, we have no grasp of it. Nevertheless, it comes down through the Bina of Keser, which is the Kol Dama Medaka, which is the Shirusa de Kaima L'She'ela. That by the Bina of Keser, we have a cloud that we can begin to ask about it, even though we can't grasp it. V'istayim de lo Yada, v'leis man de Yasiv alayu. Begin iu sasim tamir v'ganis. Even though this Chachma of Keser, this uppermost point of Keser, and the bittul of Keser, and the emergence of the ani of Keser, which is going to be the bina of Keser, this process of drawing down the light of Keser, even though the bina of Keser enables us to ask questions about it, because whenever bina is present, we have the ability to ask questions about it, in spite of the fact that we don't know it, and even though in the darga of Keser, we can't speak of Keser, but nevertheless, the bina in Keser, we recognize that we can ask a question about. Nevertheless, ve'istim v'lo yoda leis man de'ahiv alea begin de'ihu sasim v'tamir v'ganiz. In the end of the day, even though there is an openness to the questionability and the awareness of the existence of the Bina within Keser, nevertheless, that questioning does not lead to any place of knowledge, because we're still dealing with a place that is completely removed from graspability, upon which it is written that it is hidden and concealed in three different forms. Sasim, it is covered over. Tamir, it is hidden, and Ganiz means that it's concealed. Why? Because the emergence of Chokhmah and Bina from Arach Anpin is going to be mislabesh in Abba ve'ima, in Chachma and Bina. So again, we're describing the process of how we connect the highest point to the lowest point. It comes by way of the emergence into Keser and the ungraspability of Keser, and then the beginning of the ability to speak in a silent voice that doesn't lead to an answer of what the silent nature of Keser is. And then those elements of Keser get melubash, they become concealed, and concealment is always for the sake of revelation. The secret over here is the slow descent and the expression outwards, which is the secret of the concealment for the sake of revelation to something below it, is the secret of how we draw down above to below. Then we come to the place of Ata. So we have in this pasuk, Hashem Elokai, Ata. So Hashem was the light of Keser, the Chachma of Keser, the Chachma Stima. Elokai is the Bina of Keser, which is the Bina of Arach Anpin, which is Malabish on that Keser to bring it down. And Ata, what is Ata? Do Yamina Shirusa Dekaima L'Sha'ela La'ahavas Bei V'hu Kohen Ilah. This is the secret of Abba Ve'ima Eloyin. This is the secret of Chachma. Chachma, which is perpetually unified with Bina, has the ability to engarb the lower lights of Keser. Therefore, the engarbment of Chachma and Bina, the beginning of awareness within my mind and the intimations of emotional awakening within my heart, those are the levushim that have the capacity of grasping the concealed light of Keser, the Chachma and Bina of Keser, that are hidden away in unknowability. Slowly but surely, they begin to emerge into grasp by way of Chachma and Bina. And this is what the word Ata means. Da Yamina, this is the right side, which is Chachma. Sherusa the Kaimala She'ela, the beginningness that is open to questioning, which is the Bina within Chachma, that place, the Chachma and Bina, the Abba the Ima Ilah, and the train Ray and the Lemis Parshan. Le'eshavis Bei V'have Koyan Ilah. This is the secret of the Koyan Ilah. This is the secret of the secret of Chachma. the secret of the Abi Yisad Brata. Kida Amart, as the pasuk says, Ata Kohen La'olam Al Dibarti Malki Tzedek. We see that this light of Kohen is going to be the light of the Dibur of Tzedek, which is going to be the secret of the Yamin, which is the secret of Chachma, that it rests upon the Yamin. So we have Keser emerging into Chachma. V'hahu davar man ihu, and what is that thing? Malki Tzedek kach shmei. That's the secret of Malki Tzedek, which is the secret of the Hiskalis of Chachma. So now we have Keser expressing itself down into Chachma and Bina. Udemai de Amar de Barti binyan de Iskasher be Kedavid v'chol mile shivcha dilei b'hahu davar asyan. V'alda de Barti begin kach ata da kohen v'ha'ukmina de tlas tuchte inun ikre kol chad ata. Right, so the secret of how does Chachma begin to emerge is the secret of speaking praise. It's the secret of being mishabech to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the secret of bittul b'derech haida'a. It's the acknowledgement HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you run the entire world. And that's the secret of the Dibur to Malki Tzedek, which draws down that light of Chachma so that it can be known properly through the secret of the Shevach and Hodah that we give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ada Dibarti. And this is what it means it was spoken. And we see this word Ata can mean three different stations of concealment. Ata can mean Chachma, Ata can mean Bina, and Ata can mean Zer Anpin, which are the 3 points that are going to be the place where the light of Keser is Miskalen, because we have Keser, Chachma, Bina, Zer Anpin, and Malchus. So over here we have the Ata representing Chachma, Bina, and Zer Anpin. All 3 of those places can be referred to as Ata. In this Zohar, the Zohar Kadosh is following Ata to be Chachma because it includes all of the other stations of the transmission of Halbasha. Because just as Ava and Ima are the garments that allow the light of Keser to be revealed in a graspable way by way of the concealment that takes place through the garments themselves, so too Bina is going to be Levushan Chachma, and Zer Anpin is going to receive from the halbasha of Bina, and that's always the process, that the halbasha is the concealment for the sake of revelation. And so yes, Ata over here in our context means Chachma, but it also represents Chachma, Bina, and Zer Anpin, and that's what the Zohar Kadosh says when it says Ata. We just are explaining now that the word Ata means what? That the word Ata means Chachma. But nevertheless, the ha'ukmina in 3 different places. The tlas tuchte, there are 3 places. Inun de ikri kol chad ata. All of them are referred to as ata, something graspable, which is chachma, bina, and za. Arumimcha kula kachada. The secret of arumimcha in our pasuk of Hashem Elokai ata. Arumimcha Hashem is the secret of the chachma de keser. Elokai is the bina de keser, the habasha of keser into ata, which is chachma. Arumimcha, that chachma of ata contains within itself also the bina, which can be referred to as ata, as well as the zer anpin, which can be referred to as Ata as well. And all of this takes place by way of Shevach, by way of davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, by way of Shevach, of the acknowledgement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence in my life, of learning Torah by way of Shevach, of the Sha'ashuin, the Araisa, finding joy and significance in every moment that a person is Zoicha to be a Yid and Neshama Beguf in this world. Oide Shimcha Kedkayaus V'hai Shem Yidia. And this is going to be the beautiful name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that emerges as it is known. Ki asisa pella, for you have performed a wonder. The wonder is kisuya v'levushe le'islabish nuhura stima atika dereshisa darga ila adam kadma tmira bekusya de nuhura achra. The radical secret of Ke'asisa Pella Rebbeinu Shloim is that you have just gone through a process of kisoy, of concealment and helbasha and limitation and engarbment, but it's all to be islabesh, the nehura stima, to draw down in a graspable way that concealed light, that the shirish of the sha'ashuim. Atika Reishisa Darga Ilah, the secret of Reish Loas Yada, has the ability of being mislabesh, down, 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 to the secret of Adam Kadma, Bekusya denuhura achra, concealed within the garments. That the radical secret is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes through the process of tzimtzumim so as to allow us to grasp a light that could not be revealed in its own power, and therefore it's the concealment itself that begins to be the refraction lenses through which we have the capacity of grasping HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the Pella. Shemakasher ruchni begashmi. That's the Ras D'Mayam Nusa here. That's the secret of the Sha'ashuin, the secret of the Tzimtzum for the sake of Giloy, the secret of the Hisayrus, of the Gevurus themselves to be Megala, something which is the baseline of the Torah of Olam HaMalbush. And theoretically, we should end here, mamish, because the Zohar Kadosh is so powerful, but we'll go a little bit weiter. Davar acher ka'asisa pella. What's another way of understanding this asisa pella at the end of this pasuk? Ki asisa aleph, you made the os aleph. Why? Because the os aleph, the secret of the Torah of the aleph, there's a Torah of the Beis, which is the Torah of Bina, and there's the Torah of the aleph, which is the Torah of Ayin, which is the yichud of aniva ayin v'vasachas, of realizing that it's specifically through Bina that one comes to a deeper level of chachma, to come to a place where Bina is always serving at the purpose of revealing more and more chachma, where the ani and the ayin are miskaver biyachad, but nevertheless the ani, the sense of self, and the malchus is always serving the purpose of revealing further and further kedushasi l'malam kedushaseichem, which is the secret of the Torah of the aleph. And so Kiasisa Pella, this secret of the Hamshach of the Sha'ashuim, the highest point down below, is the secret of the Ois Aleph. Mahu Aleph. What's Aleph? Hatanin and Aleph Beis. It's Chachma and Bina, Aleph Bina. Aleph Bina. The Beis is the Bina, the Aleph is the Chachma that's in Skala itself within the Bina, and the secret of the Ani and Ayin Bevasachas that is perpetually driving and forcing the Ayin to reveal itself to be higher than the Ani. Aval Diyuknid the Aleph, but the image of the Aleph, Ihud plus Citron. There's three elements to it. There's the upper Yud, there's the Vav in the middle, and there's the lower Yud. Reishis the Raza Ilah, the Adam Kadma. The upper Yud is the bittel of Adam Kadmon, the bittel of Chachma. Begin the B'diyukna, the Aleph is train droyan chad mikan v'gufa be'emsusa v'kul raz echad. It represents the secret of Adam Kadmon. What's the secret of Adam Kadmon? The secret of Adam Kadmon is the emsoy that's magala above down to below. Adam Kadmon Kavyachal is the beginning and the emergence of the possibility of vessels and simsumim from within the peh of Adam Kadmon Kavyachal, which is the Olam of Akudim, the entire Metzias of Adam Kadmon Kavyachal, the highest parts of that we have no right to speak about. Nevertheless, it serves as the emergence of the interface, so to speak, between the infinite and the finite. That at the top of Adam Kadmon Kavyachal is the secret of the Kav or Ein Sof, and at the bottom of Adam Kadmon are the Olamas of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, the worlds of separation, which are the places of the lowest elements of expression possible. And the secret of Adam Kadmon is the secret of the Aleph, because it has the three elements of connecting the upper Yud to the lower Yud. How? By way of the partition of the Vav. And that's the secret of Ki Asisa Pella. That's the secret of drawing down the light of Chachma into Bina to be Magala, the light of Keser. And how do we know all of this? The Ihuraza Yehuda, all of this three parts of above, the middle, and below, the infinite, the finite, and the process of Seder Shtalshalos and Halbasha that reveals above to below the secret of the Shorish of the Sha'ashuim, Tzimtzum for the sake of Giloi, begin Kach, Aleph L'choshpina Echad. When you look at the letter Aleph, when you look at 13, when you look at Aleph, it means one. The value of one is Aleph. And that's 13. Hainu ki asisa pella. That echad is gematria of 13, and in Keser there's Yud Gimel Tikkun Dikna. There's the 13 rectifications. So the Aleph represents the transition point between nothingness and somethingness through that middle point, which contains somethingness and nothingness at once. Hainu ki asisa pella. And this is the secret of Kasisa Pella. Rav Himnuna Saba Amar, and Rav Himnuna Saba, the secret of Bina and Chachma being mischaber together, the sea and the fish being mischaber together to be Megala Keser. Amar Hachi, he said, this is what it means. Kasisa Pella, Pella Dahu Chad Darga. The secret of Pella is the Nesiv Lo Yada Ayat. It's that 50th gate, the Shahanun. That's a wonder because I don't know if it's above or below. Chad Darga Me'inim Pilla is Chachma. It comes from the Yud base Nesiva is Chachma, the Lamed base Nesiva is Chachma, and the Nun Shari Bina, which is the secret path, the Yichud of the Shliel and the Nesiv, where it's not clear if it's Bina or Chachma, because rather it's the innermost point that reveals both the Man Ihu, and which is it done Nesiv Lo Yada Ayat V'ihu Pella. It's the secret of the 50th gate. So what we have is all of these different interpretations of Asisa Pella are really coming to also reinforce what Rabbi Elazar answered to Rav Abba with regards to the question of what are these Sha'ashuin. Sha'ashuin are the secret of the Tzimtzum for the sake of revealing that which can't be revealed without the Tzimtzum itself. And the Tzimtzum doesn't actually allow me to grasp that which is revealed. Nevertheless, the only graspability that we have is by way of the Tzimtzum. And that's the Os Aleph. That's the secret of the Vav that's Mechaber between the upper Yud and the lower Yud. And Rav Himnuna Saba specifically says that this is the point of connection between Chachma and Bina and the secret of the Shar Hanun and the secret of the Nesiv Lo Yada Ayat. And that's the secret of understanding the Sha'ashu and the Chibor of Chachma and Bina, the Chibor of concealment for the sake of revelation, and the unity of Aniva Ayin Bevasachas, but rather the perpetual movement of Bina to reveal more and more of the Ayin of Chachma, to be Zohar to the lights of Keser, to be Mavata the Klipa of Balak and Bilam, to be Mavata the Klipa of Amalek, and to be Zohar, as the Zohar Kadosh in this week's Parsha ends with the Vias HaMashiach, which is the secret of the Ani HaRochev Al Chamor Be'ezras Hashem.